stronger the grass, the greater the distortion of perception and judgment.
I'm from Oregon. I drink my coffee, smoke my reefer in the morning. I roll 2 J's up and then I domed them.
Jocelyn Boyer, just
Hey.
Joshin with Joss. It's good to fucking have you, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on.
Welcome to the Hippie Speedball Podcast. Kind of again, because we did that one episode there at the Social Club, now soon to be the Flight Lounge, and it was a lot of fun and shit. But I wanted to do this over in the proper setting because sitting at that one bar was cool, but it didn't have the same sort of energy that we could bring to a podcast episode. So thanks for fucking coming through, buddy.
Thank you for having me. So speaking of the Flight Lounge, I know there's one in Portland. I still haven't been out to that one. So are they going to just rename that one and keep the same location?
So it's going to be what was known as the Khalifa Social Club is now going to be the Flight Lounge OC.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Same exact building, same everything and stuff like that. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it all works out because I'm going to be doing some episodes in there. It's going to be a lot of fucking fun and shit. And me and Jacoby, we have a really good episode. So before we dive too deep into this podcast, I just want to give a little shout out to Mackenzie over here running the camera off to the mic and going to be my researcher. Welcome to the fucking podcast, buddy.
Thanks, Joe. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, buddy. You're literally named so there's some merchandise named after Mackenzie.
Yeah.
It's called the Mackenzie. And it's because she's been so supportive of the podcast for so fucking long that I actually created this sweater and I was like, I'm going to name it after you because you're so dope.
Awesome.
And it's called the Mackenzie and you can buy it online. It says Hippie Speedball Podcast here in the corner. And then along the sleeve, it has the coffee and cannabis cup emojis going down the sleeve. And then on the back, it has the definition of a hippie speedball. And it looks like an actual dictionary definition. I made it myself. It looks really good.
Okay.
So forget about it. You can find that link in the description. Anyway, Mackenzie, welcome, buddy. It's good to have you on.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. How you doing? We've been you can't see she's laughing off camera because we've been actually smoking blunts and I've been drinking whiskey for the last 2.5 hours and then Jocelyn showed up and we smoked another blunt and now we're all freaking got good vibrations going on. It's a fun time over here. We got Big Blunt Buddy chilling right here. He's a really fucking dope guy.
Where did you get this?
That was from one of the guests I had. His name is Kemet Dank.
Okay.
And he's the creator of the Big Blunt Buddy. Really cool story because he is an artist and he created this little stuffed ghost. That's actually what he is.
Oh, I thought it was a glowworm.
No, and he's a little ghost and he has a little blunt in his mouth and you can actually cross his arms and shit like that too.
Okay.
So he's just chilling. And he's
That's
just gonna
fucking
chill back.
awesome.
Shout out to the Big Blunt. Yeah, go ahead. It's soft as
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah.
Mackenzie, check it.
Have you ever heard the term crushed velvet?
Yeah.
Okay. My friend made me feel dumb one time when I said that. I'm like, oh, is that made of crushed velvet? She's like, what the fuck, Jocelyn? I said, what? You've never heard of that? She's like, velour? You're talking about velour? I'm like, I don't know what velour is. But I call it crushed velvet. She's like, what the fuck is crushed velvet? Velvet that's crushed. Duh.
Get your shit together.
Yeah, I just thought that was maybe something that my parents had taught me that wasn't real, like Farmer Joe. Oh, I just realized that. Yeah, my parents used to tell me this fucked up story when I was a kid, and I wasn't being good. They'd be like, we'll take you to Farmer Joe. Farmer Joe is this farmer that collects bad kids and makes them work from sun up to sundown and only feeds them bread and water.
Well, anyway, my name is Joe, and I'm not a farmer. You've heard it here first on the Hippie Speedball Podcast.
It originated in Oregon City, too.
And I did not. So there we go. We already established that early on. I did not originate at Oregon City, so it's all good. So speaking of, I just found out a little trivial fact thanks to Mackenzie over here. So you were right. It's not this apartment complex, but that property right there on the corner, that's it.
That's
Ashley
what I
and
thought.
Miranda.
Yeah.
I lived here when that happened.
So I lived in Portland. I lived over by the town center when that was going down, but I didn't know that was my backyard basically. And I'm just well, if you look to your right, you'll see a teenage burial ground.
Yeah. Well, when that happened, it was a really scary time because
I remember it was crazy.
Me and my best friends were teenagers. So we went to school with the girls' older sisters, Ashley and Miranda's older sisters. And it was one of the weirdest times in my life because when when Ashley went missing, we were all like, what the fuck? And then when Miranda went missing after being on camera, we were really like, what the fuck? Because it was like right after she did the interview. And so people were like, oh my God, is this person just taking anyone on camera? And if you had sisters around the same age, which me and my friends did have sisters around Ashley and Miranda's age, it was even more like scary because we're like, our sisters could be next, we could be next. When it was discovered to be the neighbor, Ward Weaver, who had developed a friendship with the girls and groomed them, it was even more heartbreaking when they were found. So that's like a really big impact on Oregon City. Another impactful murder that happened here that isn't really talked about is Christina Hornich. She was a 2-year-old that was killed by her father's roommate, and he went on death row. He was convicted, and then in 2004, 2003, he was released from death row on a technicality. His right to a speedy trial was violated, so he was released, and he is now living at the beach scot-free. And his name is Scott Harberts. So
Is it a nice piece of beach property?
I have no idea. I haven't been able to find him because
That's fucked up.
no, that was my cousin.
That's how I process dark shit.
Yeah, no, totally. I use humor too. No, it was my cousin, and so that was very impactful for my family and for me when that was going down. And then it was like right after he was released, this happened, and so it was like really close together. It was really like, blah.
Well, that was really intense, Jocelyn. Welcome to the podcast.
I'm sorry. Let's bring it back up, right? Okay, so comedy.
Oh, no. It's just really good to have you on because also you had me on your show before too because I was on your I was on your show and with Petey Boy, and I actually just had him on the show, which his episode's going to be coming out here like next week.
I saw that.
And,
I was like, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to no, actually no, not next week. This Saturday, like from when we're recording this podcast. It was a lot of fucking fun. Like and we had
He's
a
a
fucking
good time.
blast. I know for sure. We actually we smoked a whole bunch, and then we took a shot of tequila after we were done. It was a lot of fucking fun. We want to go bowling together. That's what we decided. I think we're buddies now. Shout out to Petey Boy. Like
I want to go bowling. Shout out to Jess. Jess, come bowling with me.
Is that his girl? Nice. Yeah, I met her whenever we did the show and stuff like that. Yeah, he just came solo this time, and I had to meet him over there at the entrance because the GPS took him to the spot that I was saying, like, yo, the GPS is probably going to take you over here.
I was looking for the wrong number because I'm such a stoner. I thought the time was different than what we had agreed on. I thought it was 6. It was really 5.
It's all good, buddy.
I thought I was looking for a different
Me and
number.
Mackenzie were just getting fucking lit.
Hell yes.
We did. We took a couple dabs too.
Yes.
Took a couple dabs and fucking I was drinking some whiskey and we were smoked a couple blunts and yeah. It was
What's
a good
your
time.
favorite dab?
I don't dab that much to have an opinion, to be honest. Usually just kind of whatever she just gave me was really good. What did you just give me?
I gave you some Bo's Nose, but I can't remember which one I grabbed.
Oh, okay.
If I'm being completely honest.
I just know a few of them, so.
Well, I also grabbed Alien Walker. That one is by Highland Provisions.
Ooh.
Highland, yeah, I've had some of their stuff before. Yeah, but I don't dab enough to really be a connoisseur of it. But I like to, as far as like the way I do smoke though, I like to have like kind of more flavorful strains rolled up in like, more flavorful wraps because I like to smoke blunts. So I like to get honey fusion Dutches or berry fusion. Like I remember getting some blueberry muffin from Khalifa one time and it tasted straight up like blueberry muffin. It was so good.
Oh, yeah.
And I rolled that up in a berry fusion Dutch. Forget about it.
Oh, yeah.
It was so fucking good. It was so good. I remember smoking it in the social club and they were like, bro, that smells delicious, whatever you're smoking right now. Because it just smelled like berries and weed and dankness.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of weed, also shout out to Happy Cannabis for being a longtime supporter of the podcast. I mean, I got these mugs from them way back in the day, like when I first started the Instagram.
What is Happy Cannabis?
So Happy Cannabis is just a local brand that just fucking spreads the, like it's just a brand. They have
okay.
clothing, they have merchandise and stuff like that. They just, want to, make it so it's just like, hey, Happy Cannabis. They're really
Okay.
fucking great people. And they always made me feel really good because, like I said, they've been supporters for a really long time. I've never met them. They just, were like, hey, we want to send you some free stuff. And then I was like, okay, well, because you've been longtime supporters, no matter how big the podcast ever gets, your coffee mugs are always going to be the ones that we drink on the podcast.
That's awesome.
So even whenever we're getting like millions of downloads, that's when it's going to be like, hey, what's that Happy Cannabis mug? I want to buy those.
Yes.
You're welcome, Happy Cannabis. Let's work together. Let's
yeah.
do shit. They sent me a t-shirt, and then they sent me 2 t-shirts and 2 coffee mugs.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a couple friends, Tashari and Paris, who run a event coordinating and balloon arch like business, and they go to like a couple of cannabis shops right now and like make these really cool balloon arches for the cannabis shops. And they did one for Pride, and like they look amazing. So shout out to 106 Events.
Hell yeah, 106 Events.
Yeah.
Shout out to you guys for doing cool things.
Hell yeah. I had to shout them out. They're my friends. I love them. And they do cool things with the cannabis industry. So fuck yes.
Well,
Shout
it's
them
good
out.
it's good to have like homies like that. And that's actually a good segue into what I was going to kind of bring up next is, so like, let's go back into your show. So so you started this show, Just Joshin with Joss, and then it kind of evolved to also do Pot of Portland, correct? Did you started
Pot of Portland was just like
kind of like a little offshoot of that?
It was like definitely separate because I was just like fucking around on Instagram lives, and I was like,
Okay.
I'm gonna just eat these edibles live and do. It reminds me of I Love Lucy when she did the cough syrup, and she kept like fucking it up, and they kept having her drink it, and then she was so fucked up that she couldn't pronounce it. I love Lucy, but so I just thought, oh, that would be
classic.
fun, right? So it started off with local brands. There was actually they're still in business. Oh damn! My
So
mind
what
just
got you?
went blank.
It's okay. What got you inspired to want to start doing a podcast?
Oh, a couple coworkers and I were talking about irrational fears because I have them. And we were like, we should make a podcast. And I went home and researched it. And then I bought the stuff.
Nice.
And I was like, I'm going to fucking do this.
Fuck yeah.
So, yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
So, but like, so you just basically started before you were even ready. You just hit record and just went with it.
No, so I didn't know where to start. So I do this thing where back in school, remember when you had to like write a book report or a paper, they'd be like, do an outline first, a rough draft, an outline. So if I'm like stuck on something, I'll do like an outline or a rough draft of what I'm trying to do. So for my podcast, I wanted different segments. So I wrote out the different segments. I came up with the name, what it's about, and then like the topics that it would be. So like for Just Joshin with Joss, I wanted it to kind of be a variety of things. So you have pieces of Portland.
Closer.
Yeah. So you have Pieces of Portland, which is the pop. And then you have the Irrational Fears, which is If This Happened. And then you have the Spoon, which is kind of like a soup, like,
Okay.
yeah. You like remember the soup?
What do you mean? Like oh, so like the show, the soup?
Yeah, the soup that
okay,
like did
gotcha,
all the
gotcha.
different like clips of the shows and stuff.
Yeah. So technically,
Yeah.
he was Tosh.0 before Tosh.0.
Oh my god, that's like so disrespectful to him. Like, so well, we're probably talking about the same person, but the show is like amazing.
It
Like,
was great.
it
No,
was,
I
like,
love the soup because I remember when Tosh.0 came out, I
Yeah,
was
I
just
was
like,
so
this is
pissed.
basically the soup.
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, I don't get me wrong, I love Daniel Tosh, but it was just like,
And
come
now
on, buddy.
Ridiculous?
You're just
No,
ridiculousness.
I can't
don't
do
like,
ridiculousness.
No. Did you like that show, Mackenzie?
Which one?
Ridiculousness.
I don't think I watched it.
It was the one with Rob Diedrich and
It's
Chelsea, like Chanel West Coast, and I can't remember who the other people are, but it was.
It's on MTV 24/7.
I probably did watch
You probably
it.
saw it at the social club playing because they always had it on
hands
loop
down.
there.
I probably did and didn't
Yeah.
realize what I was watching.
That was just, I don't really like that show either. Like, I remember like when it first started, I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of funny at times. But then it was just like, all right, this is just kind of just, it tries too hard.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like Rob Dietrich's having fun doing it.
Yeah,
like,
it's a weird one.
It looks really forced. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Rob Dietrich, but it's just like, I mean, it made him a lot of fucking money, so joke's on me. But
I just like, I mean, yeah, you can be hated and make a bunch of money, but like,
hopefully he doesn't look like he's enjoying it though.
yeah, I would want to enjoy it.
Absolutely. That's why we get into this sort of shit.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, the spoon is like a I don't know what the right word.
So were you when you started your podcast, were you like intimidated with how many podcasts there already are?
No, because I'm not competing with anyone. This podcast is for me.
Do you ever like pay attention to like stats and how you're kind of like ranking and like, you know, downloads and stuff like that?
Yeah, only because I want to get paid.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's
right.
the only reason I pay attention.
That's the goal. And
Yeah.
I'm almost there.
I'm right.
Almost there.
I
Almost
definitely have
there.
done better this year than I have the last 3 years.
Nice. Nice. So like if you don't mind me asking, like how many downloads are you averaging like per episode? Like within like, you know, like between one episode and another?
I say 30 to 40.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's not terrible though.
No.
Like no, that's not bad at all.
But again, I'm not competing with anyone, so like those numbers don't really matter to me. What matters is the impact, and if it has a positive impact on people.
And it's so much fun.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. I mean, shit, look what we just did right now. Like, we just got fucking super fucking lit, and then we're hanging out, talking on mics and bullshitting. Like, how would
Yeah.
you not want to make a living doing that? It's like the most fun thing to do when
Yeah.
it comes to being people like us. Because also, you're very natural at talking on the mic. You don't
Yeah.
really like, you know, like I listened to some of your earlier stuff, and I
yeah.
could definitely tell you were dipping your toes into the water a little bit.
Oh,
but
I was nervous as fuck.
But then as time goes on, you really started to gain your, you started to really gain your confidence in there, and you started to really say like, all right, I know what I'm doing. Like, hey, do you want to hang out and be on my show? All right, let's hang out and do it.
Yeah.
You know, and it was a lot of fun hanging out with you and everything like that. The social club. I really appreciate you having me
Thank
on
you.
too. That was actually a blast.
Yeah, no, I have a great time. I have social anxiety really bad, and it's so weird because I love doing things like this. I love getting up on stage and doing comedy, but I still get nervous where my legs start shaking. I can't look at anyone in the eyes. I start like forgetting how to hold a mic. Like, it's just a lot. So I have to get really stoned sometimes in order to relax. And like a lot of my early episodes, I was fucking blazed.
That's the best way to do it.
Oh my God.
That's why I
I'd
like to
be
get
like,
nice and lit before I do this podcast. Look at Mackenzie over there. She can't even barely see us right,
right,
now. Her
that's
eyes
what I'm
are so
saying.
squinted.
And then I would forget because I'm a stoner. So I had to like write my notes down. And so like when I'm researching a guest, I would like write my notes and like have a note.
I did
like,
that at the beginning.
Yeah.
I would have like notes of what I wanted to talk about and shit like that. But then I got to a point where I was just like thinking, if I'm having this person on the show, I already know what I want to talk to him about anyway, because there's
Yeah.
a reason I wanted to have him on the show. So
Yeah.
fuck it. We'll guide it around this, and then we'll do
you
the
would
thing.
say
and
that, but like for someone like me who has anxiety, I say, okay, I could be thinking about my jokes all day long, and as soon as I get on stage, boom, it's out of my head.
oh, absolutely.
Out of my head.
Absolutely.
I don't know. So I started writing notes on my phone so that I have it. And when I first went up the first like 2 or 3 times here in Portland, I actually like wrote down notes on pieces of paper and put them in my pocket. And I'd be like, all right, guys, let me pull this note out. And yeah. So
let's go ahead and dive into that. So you're doing the podcast, and now you started to dive into stand up.
Yeah.
What made you decide to want to start doing stand up comedy? Because I've done it a couple times myself. I want to start doing it more because I really find it enjoyable. And when you get that kind of groove going a little bit, I've had it a couple times and it was really addicting, and I want to have it more. So tell me what inspired you to want to get into it, and tell me about that first open mic.
okay. So I'm kind of like, I love to try all kinds of different things. That's why like my career background is so different. I've been a nurse. I've been a dancer, exotic dancer. I've been a cook.
Wasn't expecting that one. Not even gonna lie.
Yeah,
Were you
no.
Mackenzie?
Mackenzie's
No.
like, yeah, no. When
Nope.
when I was 18, I saw this commercial for the Dolphin. Don't ask me why they had commercials at that time, but I was like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna go do this. And I went down there. It's like 1 a.m. I went up to the bouncer. I was like, hi, I'm here to audition. So do I just go on stage? And he was like, no, you go to the back door and knock on it, and you ask to audition tomorrow morning. Tomorrow? That's when my morals come out. Yeah. No, I came back with my best friend, and she like ended up doing it too. So that helped me so much because I was nervous as fuck. And she was like, I'll do it too. I was like, fuck yes, let's do it together. So yeah, we did it for like 2 years.
Nice.
That's funny.
Yep. And then I got a job offer from one of my regulars for this for a CNA job.
That's quite a transition.
It
Well, I
was.
mean, both jobs you're taking care of people, you know.
Yeah.
You know, you're looking out for your fellow human.
Exactly. Customer service at its finest. But I've always wanted to work with people. I've always loved dealing with people. Customer service is one of the things I've always done. And so, I'm fucking hilarious and knew that like I could tell jokes to people just like anything. And like right now, I know you're trying really hard not to laugh, and it's okay, but I know I'm fucking hilarious.
You caught me.
Yeah.
Womp
So
womp.
I was like, I'm gonna go on stage, and it was a trip to California with a friend of mine. And I was like, I'm going to do stand up. I'm going to try stand up out there. Because if I suck at it and they all hate me, I'll never see them again.
There you go.
And then I looked up this club.
You're like, I'm like a ninja.
Yeah.
Gone.
I looked up this club and I was like, okay, I'm going to try it there in North Hollywood. And then she was like, ooh, North Hollywood? That's ballsy. Your first time. And I was like, why?
What was the name of the place? Do you remember?
Fuck no.
Okay.
No. I like was so nervous, and then I had to go first, and I was not expecting that. And then he fucked up on my last name, which I thought was the easiest part. So I was really like, this sucks.
It's happened to me
He's
before
like,
too.
welcome to the stage, Jocelyn Boyer. I'm like, what? Who the fuck is Boyer?
I'm not French, bitch.
Right, like damn. Oh no, but when I was a stripper, they were like the manager, his name was Sarge. It was some weird army shit, I swear. But Sarge was like, do you have a stage name? I was like, no. What should my stage name be? He's like, you look Russian, so Natasha.
There you go.
Yeah. So it was Natasha for a while, and then Michaela for like the rest of the time.
Natasha and Michaela. Somebody's listening like, oh, I know who that is.
Oh, but fun fact, if you call me either one of those names, I will play dumb.
Yeah.
I had one guy chase me down. Michaela. I was like, excuse me? No, that's not me. I gaslit the shit out of him.
But now you kind of out yourself because you're
Oh,
like,
I
no,
don't
I
care.
saw you on this podcast. You're on video saying it.
I'd be
right
like,
now.
you weirdo, you waited all this time.
They're
Get
big
the
fans
fuck
of
away
yours.
from me.
They've been listening to your show for a long time.
I would expect them to be from Vegas then, because there are some weird ass people in Vegas.
It's a
Let me
fun
tell you.
time. It's
It was a
fun
great time.
Before we go into Vegas talk, let's
Yeah.
talk a little bit more about stand up. So, like, tell me about that first open mic experience. Like, what did you do well? Did you bomb? Have you bombed yet?
Okay, so the first experience I did well. I had a throwaway joke. That's what they call it, a throwaway joke. But it's this joke about these ducks because it's fucking hilarious, and I use it for icebreakers. It's about these 3 women that go to heaven, and St. Peter comes out and says, hey, whatever you do, don't step on a duck. And they're like, okay. They walk through the gates, ducks everywhere. First woman steps on a duck. St. Peter comes with the ugliest guy she's ever seen, chains them together, and says your punishment for stepping on a duck is to be chained to this ugly guy for all eternity. Second woman goes a couple weeks, steps on a duck. Same thing. St. Peter, not missing a beat, chains them together. Third woman doesn't step on a duck. Years and years go by. St. Peter appears one day with the most gorgeous person she's ever seen. Chains them together, doesn't say a word, walks away. She looks up at them. They look down at her. She says, I don't know what I did to deserve you. And they look down at her and say, I don't know about you, but I stepped on a duck. They laughed a lot harder than that, but but yeah.
I'm also really lit right now.
No, that's
too.
good.
I'm
It's
more
fine.
lit than a jack-o'-lantern.
As for bombing, I have definitely had weird energy like this, where it's like people
Fuck
are.
you. Fuck you. You're trying to do stand-up material on a podcast. Come
I'm
on,
just
you
saying,
can't
that
expect it
shit
to have the
was
same punch.
hilarious. It was actually pretty funny.
I'm sure if I saw it live, it probably would have had a different environment. You know,
what would be different?
Because it would be in a stand-up environment.
The joke is still a joke.
So when you tell someone, you know, you're like, oh, here's a stand-up joke, there's a different energy that it brings rather than just doing it. I think so. Whenever I have like friends tell me a stand-up joke, they're like, hey, like, you know, like unless they're like workshopping it, they're like, hey, what do you think of this? Or something like that.
See, I just tell someone a joke.
Well, no, I mean, like, I get that, but
I just say,
did you
"Here's
write
a
that joke? Did you
Hell
make it
no,
up?
I didn't write that joke.
Did you tell it on stage?
Yeah, I told it. I told them it wasn't an originated joke by me. That's why they
okay.
call it a throwaway joke.
Well, tell me, like, have you written any jokes?
Yeah.
Like, let me hear one that you wrote.
Oh my gosh. After that, okay, fine.
Well, you're so confident.
I am. I don't give a fuck. Like I said, I know I'm funny, so I don't care.
No, you're cool. That's why I wanted to have you on the podcast.
Okay, so here's the thing. Kids are psycho. They are fucking psycho. Okay,
That's true.
Yes, I have a son who is 15. He's a little like different psycho than when he was a kid. As a kid, he was like crazy psycho. He would not sit still. Like he had so much energy. There were a couple times that I fell asleep and woke up, and I will not talk about it to this day. So having him 24/7, because he would wake up at the crack of dawn. Like I would even try to get this kid to stay up later so that he would sleep in later, and no, as soon as the sun hit, boom. So he was 5 and we got a puppy. And this puppy was so great. And I hear the puppy one day yelping. And he's down on the ground, like limping around. And my son's up on the deck staring at him. And I'm like, what happened? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, no, you do know what happened. He's like, I thought he could fly. And I was like, what? He's like, I saw him on a show. I'm like, what kind of show did you see? He's like, he was supposed to have wings grow up. That's Paw Patrol. He has a backpack on. You thought the puppy was to have mechanical wings sprout out? Fucking no. Nope. That's not how puppies work. So please don't throw the puppy over the railing again. He won't fly. So we learned a lesson that day. Then a couple of weeks later, the puppy comes running in, and I'm like, why are you all wet? And you smell like bleach. It's because my son found cleaner on the counter, and he thought he was spraying him with water. No, that's 409. Yeah. So kids are psycho. Like my daughter.
That's true. Kids are fucking crazy.
My daughter's a different level of psycho. She will say shit that like I remember if I said as a kid, I would have like seen stars.
Yeah.
Like I would have seen stars. I would have got my ass kicked. So
see, it makes me worried for when my daughter becomes a teenager because she's so cool now, and I know this ain't gonna last forever. So it's like I'm really hoping that that's not going to be too big of an issue whenever we get older, because luckily she's really cool. But I'm excited to come out with you and like do some stand up and shit, because I've done it a little bit too, and it was a lot of fucking fun.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun. And I also really enjoy the time of sitting and writing jokes too. Because it's kind of like a little, almost like a puzzle in a way, because you have to find like certain ways to connect things and make it funny and like punchy and like surprising at the same time. Like I remember this one joke that I said on stage that fucking killed it the first time I did. I said, what is it about a line of crystal meth that says my face itches? That one fucking got a huge response on there. And then I have like this kind of like bit that I go into it from there, but it's a lot of fun. I want to go out and start doing it a lot more.
Sorry, it's hot.
Do you want me to open the window? Let me open the window.
I got just one sec.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm like sweating.
Sorry.
You're good. I am just.
How you doing, Mackenzie?
Good.
Yeah, you chill. Chilling.
Whew.
Like chilling. I mean, bud, you are chilling. And like Pauly Shore and Encino Man chilling.
I have a quick question.
Don't tax my gig so hardcore, Cruster.
I have not seen that in a long time.
Dude, I've been binging on Pauly Shore movies for a minute now.
Yeah.
Like watching them
I
in
love
order
Pauly
to
Shore.
watch Encino Man. And it's crazy because they're all connected too. Encino Man, Son-in-Law, and In the Army Now all take place in the same universe. And what's ironic is that the thing that connects them is Link. The character Link, because he's the caveman in Encino Man, and then in Son-in-Law he shows up at a party. There's like a part where he just like takes a frog off his head and then he just takes a bite out of it. And then in the Army Now, he walks up to them in the cafeteria while they're out in the fucking desert in the army, and then if you read his name tag it says Link. And then he says, "Hey, don't eat the chicken, it tastes just like frog." And he takes a roll off of it. He's
I
like,
love those
"Enjoy."
little things.
And so it's like, it's almost like it's connected. And each one, except for, so in Son-in-Law, he kind of looks at him like he recognizes him for a second. And then he's like, "Nah." And then he walks away. And then in the Army Now, when he walks away from him, he's just like he's like shaking, like he knows him from somewhere. Fucking Pauly Shore. It's a dream of mine to get him on the podcast sometime. I'm going to manifest that and make that shit happen. Because he parties in Vegas.
Yeah.
Speaking of Vegas.
Yeah.
Buddy.
Yeah.
We got to hang out in Vegas together. That
I
was
know.
a lot of fun.
Okay, I have a favor to ask you.
Let's do it.
This is a huge favor. So my boss is bugging me. He's like blowing up my phone. Is it cool if I go do a quick delivery and come back and we dive into Vegas? Because I feel like stressed a little bit because he's like blowing it up. And
Sure, that's fine.
Is that okay?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
so
that's cool.
sorry.
No,
I'm
that's cool.
So sorry.
And if you have to take off at some point, totally cool. Yeah, no worries. I got
I'm
everything.
so
No worries.
sorry.
We'll just
I'm
handle
so
business.
sorry.
Yeah,
okay.
totally.
He's just like stressing me out.
Absolutely, no problem. I'm excited.
Yes.
Because so let's jump back actually where we were before we
Vegas?
randomly took this break. What's up,
I
people?
know.
We're back.
I know. I felt like it was a good breaking stop because you were like, let's dive into Vegas. And I'm like, ooh, this is perfect.
Yeah, no, good call.
Let's come
Good
back
call.
to Vegas.
Yeah,
Because
for sure.
Vegas, I had to really think about it. That trip almost didn't happen for me.
I know, it was really last minute for you.
Yeah.
And so tell me how that it was really cool to run into you first of all,
Yes,
because
yes.
that was the most random thing ever. And I've talked about it on the podcast already, and I was like, you were like the last person that I was ever expecting to run into.
I know. And it was so crazy too how it led up to it. But basically, the trip almost didn't happen because I got like a unofficial notice to move. So I was like, oh fuck, I gotta start looking and I'm stressed. And then I was like, I shouldn't go on this trip. That's irresponsible. And then my coworker was like, I was nominated and I'm thinking about going. I'm like, you know what? We could drive there. She's like, let's do it. I'll split shit with you. I'm like, fuck it. All right, let's go. That's irresponsible, splitting
Nice.
it.
Did they hook up her hotel and everything like that too?
No, but we got the
okay.
hookup on it. So
Nice.
that was
That's what's
cool.
up. Hell
Oh,
yeah. That's what's up. Where were you
So-
guys staying?
Was it the Luxor? I think it was the Luxor that we stayed at. Yeah. We stayed at the Luxor for 2 nights or 3 nights. But it was a lot of fun. And then the first night that we got in, we literally got into town, checked into the hotel, took a shower, got ready, and made it to where you met up for the shuttle.
Yeah, where we ran into
Yeah.
you.
So what happened was we were on the other side of that hotel waiting for the shuttle over by the taxi loop. And like me and Charlie, shout out to Cannabis Charlie.
Yeah,
Hi there.
shout out. What's up, buddy? It's good to see you again. That was cool meeting you.
We actually got into a fight because she was annoying the shit out of me.
Aw,
Okay,
Charlie.
so what happened was we got there and we were waiting for the free shuttle. But she was like antsy about it. She was like, what if we don't get there in time? What if we don't get in? And I'm like, girl, no, there's a whole shuttle. Like, we'll be fine. And she's like, we should just take a Uber. Uber was $30.
Oh, yeah. You got to take Lyft over there. It's a lot better.
Lyft was the same. I was like, fuck that.
Oh,
this
really?
is free.
You were yeah, okay.
This is free. We could, what? Just be patient. So we got into it a little bit. And then I finally was like, I don't give a fuck. Like, do whatever. If you want to take a lift, fuck it. I'm done arguing. I'm going to smoke this blunt. She's like, you need it. Hate that shit. But then we like smoked, ended up smoking the whole blunt, calming down, being like, all right, look, let's just go walk to the other side, see if like people are over there because no one's around here and we're to like, I don't know, let's just see. So we walked over and then I had asked somebody if they were waiting for the shuttle to the house party, and they were like, yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. We're in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like 3 boys. And I was like, if you see the shuttle open up and we're not on it, can you let us know? Can you like look out for us? And they were like, yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. Then I saw you.
Yeah. And I remember looking over and I was just like, what the fuck? And it was funny because whenever it was, because I don't know, I just decided not to go to the party. But I was just like, it was funny because there was something in my gut. I was walking through and I was just like, well, let's just walk over there and maybe there's somebody I know that's gonna go and I can shoot the shit with them for a second. I didn't think it was gonna be you.
I know, right?
I thought for sure it would be like somebody I already met from Vegas from last year or something like that. But I'm really glad you got to go because for those that are like, having a podcast or a show or something like that, those networking, word of mouth is like the best way to make shit really start happening.
100%. You know how many people know you from that convention? Like one of the booths, shout out to High Bud Tenders.
Yeah, the High Bud Tenders. I love the High. Shout out fucking Jarrell and Rocky. I love them. They're fucking amazing.
So we were talking and I said I'm from Portland and my buddy is from Portland. And they're like, oh yeah, we also were on a podcast from Portland. So crazy. Hippie Speedball. And I was like, what, Joe? Yeah. So yeah. And then someone else said your name too. I was like, what the fuck? Damn.
Well, it's a good place to go. And I'm really thanks for everybody in Las Vegas for showing me lots of love. That's really cool to hear. Because I don't hear that a lot, and it's like I know it's happening, but it's just kind of like it's cool. Thank you, thank you, Vegas. I appreciate it. But those things are like next level when it comes to growing stuff. Like it's really underestimated. It's worth the investment. It always is because like every time I've gone there, like I've only gone to G4 twice, but every time I've gone to Vegas or something like that, there's always been like a before and an after. Because normally I'm meeting really cool people, I'm spreading the word, and it's got like, and then I'll get like a little uptick in plays and subscribers and stuff like that, and it's a lot of fucking fun to go there, and plus you're in fucking Vegas.
I went ziplining down Fremont.
Yes, we gotta hang out on Fremont.
Yes. We went together. That's right. I forgot. We went and ate at that one place too.
We got conies. I just made those for dinner the other night. I was craving a coney like a motherfucker. For those that don't know, I'm talking about like a Coney Island dog, like with the hot dog, the ketchup, the mustard, the chili, the onions, the cheese. Forget about it. It is good. So fucking good. I was craving those like crazy the other night.
It was lame because we couldn't get the same times. So you and your girl went first. And then I went after, or I went first and you went after. I can't remember. You
went first because we were waiting with your homegirl, Charlie. Yes. We were waiting with her down there and just kind of hanging out. And then I was just like, hey, we got to go.
I was so scared.
I'm really glad that we ran into you too, because that night started like really, really stressful for me. And it was like, and it wasn't, it was my fucking homeboys that really pissed me off.
Oh, always.
Like it was because like I was waiting for them, and then because I had that bottle of Jack that I was drinking, and then I finished that, and then I was wanting to go get another drink, and then it was like I was waiting for them, and they were like, okay, we're gonna go over here, and then like one of them wanted some food, and I was like, well, let's go get you some food, and then we can probably get a drink there wherever we're at, and then we went and got food. He didn't want to wait in the line at Evil Pie, and then which was. Joke's on you, Doug. Evil pie is delicious.
I mean, I would have waited in line.
Did you eat Evil Pie yet?
No, but I want to now.
It was so good. It's it's a pizza place, and the whole thing's dedicated to like Evil Knievel. Like they have like one of his motorcycles in there. They have a bunch of like posters and shit. Like, and the pizza is fucking fire. And when you go in there, it's you'll really feel like you're like in Portland whenever you go in there.
Okay.
It's got that sort of Hawthorne kind of vibe. It's really dark. It's got stickers on everything. It's got a lot of really cool shit up in there. Does it have someone
with tattoos and like dirty hair working in the back being like, I'll be right out?
Yeah, and the front,
Put your order in. Okay. We're out of pineapple. Sorry.
It's a really good place to eat, and they have really good drinks there too. It's a fucking dope place. But then we ended up like it was like a whole situation, and then they were they were basically taking too fucking long, and I was tired of waiting, and I was like, all right, I'll just fucking catch up with you guys. I'm out. I'm going to get a fucking drink.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, let me wait. And then like I waited across the street, and then like 3 light cycles went by and they didn't cross. I'm like, I'm fucking out of here.
Yeah.
So I left, and then luckily I ran into you and shit. And then I ran into a couple other homegirls that night too, and it was a lot of fucking fun.
I totally forgot we ran in on Fremont too. That is nuts.
We met up on Fremont. We didn't just run it. Yeah, we
okay,
planned
that's
on
what I
meeting
thought.
up.
See, I was so high those 3 days that I was there because it was like free weed. Plus, we brought a bunch.
Yeah.
Because if you drive, you're to bring a bunch.
100%. Yeah, that's one thing I've never driven down there. I always fly.
I
really
love driving. I love driving. Love it because you don't have to worry about someone crashing the plane.
Yeah, that's true. Although I'm going to be, getting my pilot's license. So I'll be able to fly my own fucking way down there someday. That's what I'm
not
really...
get on. I hate flying so
really?
much. I fucking hate it. And the smaller the plane,
I would love it.
oh my God. You'd be like, just get in right on the other side, okay? Don't worry about the noises. It's to be loud. It's okay. Don't worry.
Airplanes are so much more safe than people realize, though. Like, there are.
I don't care.
They
You know
really
what?
are.
People say that, but
99% of the time, it's because the pilot made a mistake. And they usually are flying within a realm that they're not capable of flying in. There's all sorts of reasons.
I am scared as fuck for flying. It's too high up. I'll be honest. It's too high up for me.
You're like, humans were not meant to be that high in the air.
It's too high up. And so, like, I remember coming back from Vegas one time, and this lady was sitting next to me, and she's like, I've been flying my whole life, blah, 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 blah. I was like, okay. And I'm just scared. I'm, like, waiting for this edible to kick in. Like, oh, my God, I don't want to be on here.
Next time that happens, if you're ever off flying, you should pull like a bridesmaids, and you should be like, I had a dream that the plane crashed. You were in it. And say that to her.
Oh, my God. No, we hit turbulence.
Hilarious. She'd be like, what the fuck?
And the plane started shaking a little bit.
Yeah.
And I hear her go, oh my, I have never been through something like this. Bitch, if you do not shut the fuck up.
What's really crazy is whenever it hits these little like upwind drafts, and then it'll be flying, and then the whole plane will just go like,
yeah,
and just kind of like
that is
drop
not fun
like
for
that.
Me. Nope.
I'm not saying it's fun, but it's fucking crazy. I remember my first time flying, I was actually sick. My very first time I ever flew, and I was flying out to Detroit. And when I went out there, it was like that was my first time experiencing that. But I don't know, I didn't mind it at all. But I've flown to Detroit, I've flown to Hawaii, flown to Vegas a bunch of times to and from.
I think it's PTSD from my mom thinking that it was fun to drag me on all of those octopus rides at the carnival. I hated that shit so much. The spider and everything, where they just spins around as it spins.
How'd you like the zip line?
I hated all that shit. Hated all of it.
You didn't like the zip line?
No. Oh, the zip line. Oh, I was thinking the zipper. Remember the zipper?
Oh, yeah.
No, I like as soon as you said zip, I was like, oh.
The zipper wasn't fun. I never liked the zipper.
Everybody
Everybody was always like, oh, I like going in the zipper. It was never my thing.
I'm not a roller coaster fan.
I was always more of a tilt-a-whirl kind of guy.
I can handle one time.
I like roller coasters, though. I do like roller coasters. Or I like some of the ones that'll just bring you like straight up in the air. Like those ones are a lot of fun too. They have one over at California Adventure. It brings you up like it's like 190 feet, some shit like that. And I would look it up, but unfortunately, Mackenzie had to dip out. Mackenzie, thanks for hanging out on the first section.
I'm sorry, Mackenzie. She's probably like, this bitch.
No. She had a really good time. She's going to be coming back through.
No, but I am scared of those rides too because of those videos. Remember that one video of that kid that fell out?
Well, I'm really proud of you for going on the zip line.
Yeah. I almost chickened out at the end.
It's a lot higher when you get up there.
Oh my God. And then you have to like step off. They're like, just step off and hang. I'm like
that feeling when your feet aren't touching the ground anymore.
I can do that. Yeah, I was terrified.
It's like the same feeling. It's like when you didn't know how to swim and your feet can't touch it anymore. It's like that. You like can't like it's such a weird feeling.
I was so scared, and then I'm
you're
hanging
just
there,
kind of hanging there at the mercy of them, hoping they hooked it up right.
Right, like once we started going for a little while, I was like, oh, hey, waving at everyone like an idiot. Like, who's looking up, waving at me? But me, I'm
Sometimes
waving
they
at.
are.
Yeah, okay, well, they weren't. I was just like so excited about it. I was like, okay, I'm waving. Haha. This is almost over. Good. But yeah, no, heights scare the shit out of me.
Oh, yeah. You're like, not my thing.
I push myself because I try to get out of my comfort zone. So I've done all the zip lines in Vegas now.
Nice.
I've done the really tall one.
Did you do you did the one at the Rio?
Yeah, that one. Oh my God. I have a video of me. It just looks like I hate it on the ride the entire time. Like I have my eyes closed for the first half because I'm like, it's just like one chair attached and you're like 500 feet up in the air.
Yeah, you're really fucking high up in there. For those that don't know what we're talking about, like I'm actually just gonna go ahead and post a little clip of it right now. Like, and you can see it's like the fucking from one skyscraper basically to another over at the Rio in Vegas.
You know,
looks
there's
really cool.
a rooftop bar that you have to go through before getting on that zip line. They're like, yeah, just go right out on the rooftop bar that has no railing except it's at ankle high. I will say,
nope.
I will say, I have never felt so light.
Yeah,
I felt like a breeze was just a pick me right up and take me right over the edge.
Oh my god, yeah. When you're that high up, it's a whole different feeling with the way the
People were
wind blows.
dancing. They were dancing and drinking. I was like, you idiots. What if you stumble over? And then they open the gate and the workers are attached. And you're like, okay, where's my harness?
Right.
And they're like, just come right out and get in the seat. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I'm not attached to anything. And they weigh you because you can't weigh more than like 500 pounds combined. So you're like, can we make sure we weigh right? Like,
it's the opposite of the heart attack grill.
Exactly. Yeah, so that was terrifying. And then they release you down. You go super fast and you're like, oh, does this thing have brakes? Yeah, at the end, it just stops you right away, like hard. And then it brings you back up, going backwards just as fast. And then it'll stop. And I know this trick, so I didn't look. But my husband, he looked, and it was like dangling us over the edge. And he was like, oh, shit. I was like, yeah, that's why you don't look. Dumb. I knew better. I knew that was coming.
That's fucking. Hey, at least you did it though. That's what's up.
Yeah, I don't think I could do it again.
Well, hey, you only have to do it once.
Yeah,
you don't have
exactly.
to do exactly.
My son, he stresses me out. He loves parkour and all that shit. He loves zip lines.
Parkour.
Oh my gosh.
Parkour.
Yeah, no joke. He loves parkour, and I'm like, I can't watch you do that. I can't watch you backflip off a ledge and land on a padded floor.
How old is he?
15.
15. Wow,
Yeah.
you don't look like you have a 15-year-old.
Thank you. This one customer, she was like, no one guesses my age. I'm like, oh yeah, I feel you. How old do you think I am? She's like, I'd say 35. I'm like, fuck you. That's not how you play this game.
Right. And yeah.
You're not supposed to guess the correct age.
Is that how old you are?
Damn.
35?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't have guessed that.
Thank you.
I thought for sure you would be like late 20s or my age.
Aw,
like 30,
thanks.
31. Because I'm 31. I'm about to be 32 in like a couple weeks.
86, baby. Year of the tiger.
1990. I'm as old as the 90s themselves.
I grew up in the 90s, so honestly, like, I feel like if you were a kid of the 90s, you can survive anything because parents didn't give a shit.
Well, exactly. Like I say, we're the last of the latchkeys because, and for those that don't know, a latchkey kid is like a kid that basically raises themselves because
Oh,
they
thank
have
God.
to.
I did not know what that was. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. You're like, sure, right? Yeah.
I'll Google that later.
Yeah, right. You're like, the fuck is a latchkey?
I'm like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be
So they call them that
offended.
because, like, you know, they would like, you know, like leave the latch open so they could get in the house. Like a parent would be working and stuff like that's what the term comes from.
Damn,
That's
my
what they're
parents
called,
were
latch
so
keys.
like that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had working parents, so like I basically raised myself since I was like 8 years old.
Oh, kindergarten. I set my microwave on fire.
Nice.
And I didn't know what to do, so I called 911 and the fire department came. And my grandma luckily arrived before any police arrived, but my mom was pissed.
Oh, I bet.
She was like, Jocelyn, what the hell? Don't call the police. Don't call the fire department. Let the shit burn.
We need that insurance money.
Don't let CPS get involved.
Right. The like, and the crazy thing is like a lot of us, like, we're also the reason why our generation feels so different is because like we're also the last ones that remember what it was like before the internet. And so we remember dial-up. We remember when flip phones first started coming out. We remember the first like Blackberries into Androids, into the iPhone, into the touch screen. Like we saw the evolution of all this. And we remember the world before it. So it's this really weird dichotomy in our head. And not to mention that a lot of us, you know, with 9/11, we witnessed mass murder from being kids and teenagers.
I mean, even before that with Columbine, I was just talking to...
See, I remember Columbine too. I remember watching that live on the news when I
Yeah.
was like, I was 8 because it was April of '99 when it happened.
But before Columbine, there was no like real fear of school shootings. We didn't practice.
Well, there was there was one, and
but we didn't practice the preparing for school shootings until after Columbine.
Okay.
That's what I remember.
Well,
from
there was
school.
also the Springfield shooting with Kip Kinko.
Right. What I'm saying is schools didn't practice.
Yeah, Columbine put it on another level for sure. I remember specifically watching on the news when I was I was 8 years old, and I was at my babysitter's house, and I remember it was in the morning, and it was before we went to school because Denver is an hour ahead of us. So it already was going on before I went to school, and I was watching it on the news, and I remember seeing live the footage of the one kid who had been shot, and he's crawling out the window, trying to get their attention and shit, and you see it from the helicopter view.
Yeah.
I remember being 8 years old watching that shit.
Yeah.
That Columbine shit is fucking crazy.
I mean, just throughout history, there was a space shuttle that blew up on live TV that we were watching in classrooms because it was a monumental history that this Challenger was going up in space with all these people. And I remember it blowing up and being what the fuck?
One thing that's really crazy is the one of the people that was in there was because when did the Challenger blow up? Wasn't it in the early 90s?
I'm terrible with dates. I did research.
Damn it, Mackenzie.
I know. I did research the Ashley Miranda, and when
that was 2002.
It was 2002, but in 2000s when Scott Harper's got released from death row. So it was within 2 years where these two monumental things in my life had happened. So that's why Oregon City is somewhere that I've lived for a long time, but also not a place that I love.
Okay. I never really lived around here or been around here until I moved out here. So, because I had lived mostly in Southeast Portland most of my life. And then I also went to high school in the Clackamas and Milwaukee because I went to Milwaukee High.
Oh, okay.
And shit. And so I went to high school around that area and everything. So I like it out here. It's definitely a dark story right there. But
yeah, sorry to bring down your podcast. I wasn't going to say anything until you brought it up. I was like, nope, don't point it out. Don't point it out. And then you were like, oh my God. I was like, what?
It's all good. So with the it's crazy with the Columbine. I went through. So I had a friend of mine who actually he was the one who shot up Clackamas Town Center. He was a good friend of mine.
Wait, are you serious? You were friends with him?
Really good friends with him.
I took care of his aunt.
Oh, I know Tammy very well.
Yeah. Well, she killed herself right after that. I think a couple years after he did that.
Yeah. Well, he was a good friend of mine. And I after that happened, I started looking really into these kinds of incidences and stuff like that. And I learned what the real story behind Columbine was and what they were trying to do and everything. And and it's crazy because when you look at those two kids, it was a deadly combination of anger and depression. And it was those two just negative clouds on this really low vibration that was just constantly interacting with one another. And it's really fucking sad to look at and everything, but they were fucking just fucked up. And I remember the story went around that they were bullied and stuff like that, but it actually was quite the opposite. They were kind of douchebags to other people and everything. And then people would do the same
really
thing surprising. And everything. Yeah, for real.
It's it fits the stereotype of a lot of the school shooters, the mall shooter. I was really sad because before he went and did that, from what I had heard from her, he was doing really well. But he had gone through a lot of shit with her from what I had gathered a little bit of. So when that happened, it was really sad. And yeah, how did you handle that?
Well, I mean, I didn't really talk about it for a year after it happened because it was a lot to process because you don't, and the fucked up thing is you know what he did was so terrible. And this is a position I never thought I would ever be in my life. Right. And this is something that actually I want to dive more deep into this because this is kind of a perspective that's really lost amongst these stories is for the people that know these people and the weird mixed feelings that you get about everything because what this person did was so terrible, but you also know that this person isn't the monster that everybody thinks that they are. You just know that something happened. And it's like, and that's exactly how it was for me. When I found out it was him, I was like, it literally took me off my feet because I've known this guy since 8th grade. He lived with my family. We played guitar together. We skateboarded together. We fucking went to the bar together when we were older. Like, I knew him really fucking well. And it was just crazy because like I had, the shooting happened. I remember it all being all in the news and everything like that. And I remember for some reason I had a gut feeling that I was somehow involved. Like I knew that I knew somebody that was there, knew somebody that was maybe shot. Like there was just something about it. I was like, there's something connecting me to this right now. And and for some reason I couldn't sleep that night. And it had nothing to do with the shooting. I was just wide awake for some reason. I couldn't fucking sleep. And then when I finally went to sleep, my mom came in the room. And she was like, hey, I'm not trying to wake you up right now, but they're saying on the news that the guy who shot up the mall was Jake. And I was just like, what? And then I look and I see the news that says mall shooter identified as Jacob Tyler Roberts. And I was just like, I literally sat down and I was like, well, it's a common name. And I was like, Jake Roberts is a really popular name. I mean, fuck, there's Jake the Snake Roberts. He's a professional wrestler. It's like, it's really, that was my first thing popping up in my mind. I was like, it's not him, it's another Jake Roberts. And then they pulled the curtain and showed his face. And I was like, son of a bitch.
Right.
Like, it was fucking crazy. And then, and then it was the hardest thing to ever listen to the news about it or hear people talk about it, because it's just like, you don't want to, like, you don't want to say like, hey guys, like, and I remember we tried to have like a celebration for him, but then once people found out somehow where we were doing it at, like the bar was getting like death threats and all this other kind of shit. And so like we weren't even able to do anything like that about it. It was really fucked up. It was a whole messed up situation, but it was, definitely, how can I put this? It definitely changed my light on those situations. So now I kind of look at them from a little bit more of a holistic perspective, especially knowing somebody who did something similar. So I have that sort of thing that I'm always thinking about, and then try to, unpack the reasons why people have done what they do and everything like that. And it's a crazy thing, but anyway, Las Vegas. Las Vegas is fun. Speaking of shootings, Las Vegas is a good place.
Just going back to that real quick.
That one's got a lot of fuckery. The Las Vegas shooting, there's a lot of fuckery there.
I will say that like your position is not one that shouldn't be unheard if we're extending compassion, empathy, and going back to what we started out with, which is the Oregon City murders. I can't speak on Ward Weaver because I'm not directly involved, but what I can speak on is my cousin and her murder. For a long time, I wanted revenge on him and wanted him to die or suffer or do all of that stuff. And when I started to really think about like, by wishing ill will on somebody, you're going down to be on a level that you are judging someone else on.
Yeah, you're acting on a low frequency.
And so it's easy to point fingers and say this person is so awful, this person doesn't deserve anything, this person deserves all the hate. But it's a lot harder to take a step back and wonder why, and to say like, obviously this person was unwell, or this person suffered a great impact, something happened. And it's not excusing what has happened, but it's empathizing and having compassion for that.
Well, that this person started as a innocent baby at one point, and then there was
feel bad. And I'm going to quote another podcast that deals with true crime. It's called Gruesome. And you can feel bad for the person's hurt child. You can feel bad for that part of their life, but you don't have to feel bad for them taking actions as an adult that inflicted pain onto others.
Well,
so,
of course, yeah, definitely.
I get where you're like, this was my friend and this was a person and everything. And like,
But then the action itself is inexcusable.
And it's hard.
And that's what creates the dichotomy in your head.
But to have compassion, empathy for both sides. So like to have compassion for Jake's family and friends who are suffering a loss because they are losing someone that they loved, that they didn't see doing this act. And understanding from that standpoint, and then from the other standpoint, understanding that it's hard for some people to be in a more compassionate or empathetic mindset when they're hurt, when they're suffering. And so it sucks for both sides, especially when someone chooses to not only hurt others because they essentially destroy multiple lines of life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's a fucked up situation for sure.
So I'm sorry for your loss.
Oh, I think I appreciate that.
I really
appreciate
am.
that.
And I'm sorry you didn't get to have a proper goodbye. I hope you know that like you can always do that. You can always have your own ceremony, and like no matter what other people's
that's been
opinions.
taken care of a long time ago. This was 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. It was a long time ago for sure. That was
just
definitely
speaking
dealt
for
with.
anyone who might be going through something similar. So
yeah, the Vegas shooting, there was a lot of fuckery behind that one.
The one where the cops were involved and it was like on camera, and then like can't remember. Is that the one where he was like in one of the hotel rooms? He was in one of the hotels and he was shooting people down at the concert. Yeah, that one. There's a whole lot of fucking weird shit that's going on behind there. Like the fact that the same night that he was that he shot up that fucking concert, also just down the road at the Tropicana, there was a failed assassination attempt on a Saudi Arabian prince, and then there was armed guards escorting him out. And then they never found the guys that were actually there. And if you look at the weird things, like there was a random transaction into his wife's bank account of like $100,000, like just before the shooting happened. Oh, you're saying that he might be set up?
Oh, I think he was a patsy 100%.
Like he 100%. Didn't do it, or like he?
No, I think what happened was I think he was used as a patsy in an arms deal because he was making these trips out to the desert, and when they traced his calls, there was all these different calls that were fucking like bounced over, and then that led to like people from like Saudi Arabia, and he was meeting up with these people out in the desert, and then nobody knew what he was doing on these trips. And also it took them over a year to gather all of the footage and everything like that. And if you actually look at the security footage that they released, you can't directly see his face. Like it's never a clear image of his face. And it was just, there's a lot of fucking weird shit going on there. So I think it was an assassination attempt on this prince, and then they used him as a patsy, came up there, killed him, shot down at the concert to cause a distraction.
So
and
you're
bounced
saying
out.
that he wasn't involved in the shooting?
I think that he was used as a patsy. That's what I think too. Like because there's a whole lot of fuckery behind that one. You know, it's like JFK. Like there's a lot of weird shit that they do because the government can't be trusted. But
I mean,
anyway,
how many TV shows do we know are out there of the shady government part of our government?
Do we even need a TV show? Can't we just have history?
I mean, the government has admitted to being shady. Like, oh, remember when we denied UFOs? By the way, those exist.
Oh yeah, and exactly. Well, what's really funny was the response from everybody from it. It was like you figure it would have been a huge deal because literally the Pentagon came forward and was like, yeah, UFOs exist. We don't know what these things are. They're beyond our capabilities. Yada yada yada. And then everyone's just like, well, whatever. Like this
because we were going through the pandemic. They were like, this is the perfect time to release this. Trump was wreaking havoc.
All set up.
Yeah, everyone
all planned out.
Well, duh. But I feel like people are becoming smarter and becoming more aware with technology, and so you're getting a lot more.
But you ever notice that the more close, like all the times of Great Division are always directly synced up after the times of Great Unifying? Like if you actually look at the times we're the most unified and we're starting to look at the government, they immediately are like, okay, we need you guys to start fighting about this right now.
Yeah.
And then it's just a case of divide and conquer. It's very Machiavellian, and it's crazy to look at and watch it from like a different perspective, especially since I was off social media for like 3 years, and it was also all during 2020. So I gotta see the world from no influence from social media, and it created a very unique perspective for sure. And it's crazy to watch everything going on, but yeah, Las Vegas, fun place.
I will say that I feel like now we
fucking
get
lit,
bombarded with information from everywhere that like I accidentally relayed a fact that I thought I read in this article, and now I'm like not even sure I read the article. I thought I read an article that was like, Arnold Schwarzenegger is so proud of his TV son, or his son who's in the TV show, and I thought they were naming the guy that plays Homelander on The Boys. I was like, oh, that makes sense. Anthony Starr being Arnold Schwarzenegger's son. I can't say his name. But then I said it to a group of friends. I was like, yeah, did you guys know this? And as soon as I said it, I was like, I don't think that's correct. Let me fact check it. Could not find his real dad at all. So now it's like really weird because like, why is his dad so hard to find?
Yeah.
But I haven't found evidence that he's Arnold's son. So
I don't know.
But Vegas. Okay, so going back to Vegas, once you got on the bus, we went to
I heard
Mike
it was kind of
Tyson's.
lame.
What? Who said it was lame?
A handful of people I talked to, they said
I
it was
liked
just
it.
they said it was kind of just bleh.
I guess if you were like there at a different party, maybe you were expecting more, but I liked it. It was packed. There was a lot of like gourmet foods, which I will say I do not like, because if you hand me a cracker with some shit on it and that's it, and I gotta come back for another cracker,
That's some bullshit.
right? We're all getting high. Like, I just want a plate full of fucking food.
You should have just like Taco Bell cater it. Just a fucking,
no, not
just
after that TikTok video I watched. I know I saw that video where they had the dry beef and then they added hot water and then they stirred it. I was like, I knew it.
Yeah. It's still delicious.
No.
It's so good.
Ew,
it's
no.
not good for you, but it's dank. You
I
liked
am-
Taco Bell before you watched that?
I did, but
No,
not
so
anymore.
yeah.
No, fuck that.
It's still delicious. You
hell
can't-
No, I'm not going back.
It's still good.
I got food poisoning from Subway. I tried going back recently. Nope.
I got food poisoning from Chang's one time.
Oof.
That sucked.
Yeah.
And especially since like, and it was like, it fucked me up. I was sick for like 2 days. That one was really gnarly. It took me months to go back. I was just
Yeah.
like, I don't know.
Subway, it was the honey mustard. We narrowed it down, and
Subways.
I still can't get honey mustard. My
Ugh.
son was like
I can't
scarred.
eat Subway anymore.
No.
It's fucking just garbage.
It
Did you
is.
know? I just recently found this out that in Ireland, actually, Subway's bread isn't. They can't consider it bread because of its sugar content.
Yes, I read that, and I was like, of course. That was actually my first job was Subway.
Oh, really? Mine
Mm-hmm.
was Baskin Robbins.
Ugh, I loved it because I got free sandwiches all the time.
I got free ice cream, and we used to do
yeah.
trades with. So it was the one on 82nd that was by Winco.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And so I worked there
on
and
Boyer Street.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
my
yeah.
last name.
I know. It's cool. And so and then there was a Skipper's that was right there.
I know. I love that one.
And so we used to trade with them. We'd give them ice cream and then they would fucking hook us up with grubs. Oh, yeah, go ahead, pour yourself some water. You're good. But it was
I worked at KFC.
Oh shit. But it was we were it was a cool job. Also, we would do trades with Papa John's. Over not Papa John's, but Round Table. They're on 82nd and
better.
King. Yeah. And then we would hook them up with like, we'd be like, hey, what do you guys want? We just hook them up with like milkshakes or banana splits, ice cream, and then they would just give us a large pizza. That was a fun job. I got my first blowjob at that place. Right, the back room.
I worked at KFC for my second job because I had gotten locked up when I worked at Safeway for a kid jail. I went to juvenile detention and then foster care for a little bit.
Breaking the law.
I was bad. I was a bad kid. But I came back and went to KFC and worked down at the transit center here in Oregon City.
Oh, okay.
Yep, that was my second job. And we would take all the chicken at night and go to the bowling alley when they had the bowling alley in Gladstone. And we would Cosmic Bowl for free. And they just eat the chicken inside.
Nice.
Hell yeah. So
That's what's up.
It was the best. I do remember those fucking gallon Coke jug things. Remember? Would you like to add a 1 liter drink for only $2 more? I sold so many of those.
Nice.
I sold them like I made commission on them.
Nice.
So funny.
My second job, my second job was as a painter, but then I also worked at Papa Murphy's for a minute too.
Okay.
So that was one of my other food jobs. I've worked a fuckload of jobs. In
Oh,
my
me
life.
too.
A fuck.
Like I went to Job Corps right after KFC. And I was waiting for a open spot in the certified nursing trade thing. And while I was waiting, I decided to learn how to weld.
Nice. That's what's up.
Yeah, I know how to basic weld. And then I was a nurse, came back, decided to be a stripper.
Nice. That's right. We covered
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Fun
And then
stuff.
I was a nurse.
And then you were a stripper that dressed like a nurse.
Nope. Then I was a stripper again because I got divorced, and I was like, well, I was bartending too. So I was learning how to bartend on the side. And yeah, like I've gone through different types of jobs, all customer service, all like working with people.
Nice.
So it's my forte.
What do you want to do next?
Oh, I love my job now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just don't want to like annoy my boss too much to where he lets me go. I don't think I'm there yet, but I'm close. I know I'm close with my mouth. Let me tell you, it has been forever. Like we talk about how old we are, 35 years, okay? I remember not being able to say what you really felt to your boss out of fear of being fired.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Really?
You can tell. Fuck no. There's jobs a million now, and like
That's a good point. Yeah.
yeah. And after the Great Resignation, whatever they called it, employers started realizing that they are shit without the employees.
Exactly. 100%.
So yeah,
I was a manager for a tasting room for a distillery for like almost 3 years. And it was my first management job, my first booze job, and my first retail job. And I just applied for the manager position because I just was like, fuck it, I'm going to give it a shot. I need more money. I didn't think they were going to say yes. And then all of a sudden they just gave me the keys and they were like, all right, find a staff. And I'm like, oh shit.
That's so funny because I went in to drop off my resume for the porn star over on 82nd. You know,
Nice.
Is it? No, what is it?
82nd Drive.
No, 82nd Avenue by Division. That.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yes, I know which one you're talking about.
The ones with the boots that
Okay.
you can rent out and go in. So I was an after school teacher, and then I got fired from my mouth because I told her to fuck off. But anyways, she deserved it. I don't care. So I was like, I'm gonna go work at this porn store because that shit is gonna be hilarious if I get the night shift. I'm gonna be able to see all kinds of people. It'll be the greatest material. And that was in 2020. So I went in with my resume, with the application. And I went to drop it off, and she was like, oh, do you want to do an interview now? I was high as fuck.
Nice.
I was high as fuck. I was like,
Well, then they saw you in your natural
sure.
state.
Yeah.
Go to the interview high as fuck, so that way that's what the expectations are.
That's what my friend Lois said. She was like, told her other friend, like, you can't go to your job interview sober because then they'll be like, what the fuck is wrong with you if you get hired? I'm like, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Keep it leveled. So yeah, I went in that interview and I was high as fuck. And then I got hired.
Nice.
I was like, okay.
And then the pandemic hit.
And then the pandemic hit and they changed the hours. So now there's no overnight shift. So they were like, we have
okay.
to let you go. And I was like, ah.
That sucks. It was, I had a similar situation. I was actually, this is a little pocket of people too that isn't talked about, is the people that were unemployed before the pandemic and then they had no jobs to look for anymore.
Yeah.
But then also people like now can see what the psychological effect is of long-term unemployment. It fucks with the human condition really bad. That's why we're all like nitpicking with one another right now. But anyway, I just got in a position working as a delivery driver for like restaurants and bars.
Hell yeah.
My
Me
very
too.
first
Not for
day,
restaurants and bars.
my very first day was the day that everything got shut down. My first day. So literally they were like, well, we don't have any work for you to come do. So, and then by the time they hit me up and they were looking for people, I already got a different job at that point.
Yeah.
And everything. And now I'm just doing my own thing. I just do Instacart and I just make money that way and other ways too. But that's mostly what it comes from.
I did Instacart.
Yeah.
I tried to do more than one order at a time.
I hate doing that. You have to be really, really, you find your sweet spot.
Can't be a
when
stoner.
it comes to it.
That's
Oh,
for
sure
sure.
you can. I get lit when I go in there. Fuck yeah. And that's
Okay,
the cool thing
I
is I
can't do it.
get a smoke during the day, and then I freaking hop in the car, go do some batches, do my shit. And then the cool thing is like if you like you'll find like I said, kind of like your sweet spot and kind of like your little like, okay, I'm not going to accept this many items for this much price, and I'm not going to drive this far. Once you kind of figure out like where that Venn diagram meets, then you'll be able to actually really make some serious money. Because I average between $20 and $30 an hour.
Yeah.
And so like, and it's, you know, when you break it down, like a $20 an hour job, that's $160 a day. So you're like, okay, boom, I just got to make $160 today. And that's like making $20 an hour. And usually it's more than that. And so you can just kind of do it that way and then make sure that everything's all taken care of and copacetic.
Hell yeah. Yeah. I do delivery driving now for cannabis.
I know, that's pretty sweet.
I fucking love it. I get paid hourly. They pay for my gas.
Nice.
And then people tip, and they tip so well up in the hills. Those rich people up in the hills that love to get high but don't want to drive, they're like, here's a tip for you.
See, that's cool that they tip you, because the people up in the hills tip their Instacart shoppers like shit. It's fucking bullshit.
I know. That's why I do not miss Instacart. I am all about cannabis. Like, get in the industry, especially if you're a woman or you are non-binary, whatever, LGBTQ. We need all of them, like, seriously, because I feel like the cannabis industry is a lot like the alcohol industry, which is just a lot of men, mainly white men, but men. So get more people in there. Like, women, it's really intimidating as a woman, I won't lie. Like, it took me a couple of years to even like get the nerve to apply and to like go to interviews. And I'm actually shocked I was hired for the 2 positions. So
nice.
Yeah. Like, cannabis is hard for women to get into, and kind of like comedy. It's like not as welcoming as you would think. And so I was listening to these 2 male comics, talk to this other male comic who wanted to throw his own show, but he wanted to only have men.
Okay.
And they had to explain to him why people probably wouldn't like that. And he was like, why do women have to have equal time? I just don't get it. And they were like, because there's not that many women in the industry, so we need to make them feel welcome. He's like, yeah, maybe it's just because there's so many men comics. Like, there's more men comics than women, so why do we need to? And I'm like, you're not getting it.
Well, who is this?
I'm not that Trust me, if you come out, you'll know, because he's terrible at jokes.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Like, I don't understand why he keeps getting, like, being allowed to get up, because sometimes those jokes turn racist. And you're like,
well, some people
why?
some people don't know how to tiptoe or like around that properly and make it funny, like according to the room that you're in and everything. Like, a lot of it, I was at the social club, I was at the open mic, and it was like, I heard like, and this was kind of like something I'm actually really proud of myself for. So there was a good like 3 or 4 comics that tried jokes that were not doing well.
Yeah.
Like,
that
it
happens
was
a lot.
not the right room for it.
Yep.
So I just basically took it upon and then I had to go up next. And the whole energy was just like, nobody's laughing.
Yeah.
And so then I had to go up, and I was just like, all right, I'm going to try to shift the whole fucking energy of this room.
Yeah.
And luckily I was able to do it.
That's the best.
And it was really cool. I got a lot of encouragement from comedians to keep going. Like, Zane fucking encouraged me. Lucas freaking encouraged me a lot, and also a couple other people like Ike's. A lot of,
I love it, Ike's.
Yeah, they're really awesome, and like they gave me a lot of props, and whenever we were talking about it and shit like that. And then Ike's actually gave me a really big compliment. He was like, "Bro, if you can get laughs in the weed place, you're gonna fucking kill in the bars." Like, and I'm like, sweet. And it got me a lot of inspiration. I have a fuckload of jokes that I write too. Like,
nice.
I also just love the act of writing jokes. It's a lot of fun because I'm a writer at heart.
Yeah.
So that's naturally just where it all comes from. I'm going to check the camera real quick.
Okay, no problem.
Just to make sure everything's still running right. Probably sign off here in a few. Cool, everything's good. Everything's copacetic.
Nice. I was to say, I was just talking to Zane about like how comedy has, I feel like, different lanes. Like,
For sure.
Some people do pun jokes and they get a really good following on that, or dad jokes, and like People love it. Dick jokes are another lane. I totally get it. I'm more of a storyteller joker.
Yeah.
So that's more my lane.
I've noticed that too. Like a lot of people have their own kind of different stuff. Like, see, what I want to do is I'm really good at one-liners, and then I'm good at like my one of my favorite ways to write is like I had this one joke that it did really fucking well, and I was like saying like that a lot of people these days are getting really into like gemstones and crystals and stuff like that. And at first I was just like kind of like whatever, but then I've learned a little bit about it. I was saying I didn't know that the crystal amethyst has a very soothing, calming energy as opposed to the more upbeat, stimulating crystal
it's
meth.
supposed to. That's why I wear mine
You
all the
stepped
time.
on my punchline.
Sorry.
You totally
Sorry.
just stepped on my punchline.
Oh, shit. I'm sorry. That's a heckler move.
Yeah,
know.
for real.
My
Got
bad.
heckled on my own podcast.
Well,
Jesus
that's what you get
Christ.
for not laughing at my joke earlier.
Yeah, but you laughed at your own joke, so it doesn't
I
matter.
know, because I'm fucking hilarious. You gotta catch up. I know. But no. I'm so sorry. I wear this all the time, and people tell me all the time, they're like, oh, your amethyst is so beautiful. Do you feel calm all
I don't
the
know
time?
shit about this stuff.
I was like, listen, I wish I felt calm, but sometimes I'm still mad, and I'm like, I'm wearing this.
But
Like,
I
is it-
get why people can feel connected with it, because
Oh,
I think if you can
100%.
feel connected with one aspect of Earth, you can feel connected with another. Like I feel very connected with like rivers and forests and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. So it would make sense that someone would be connected with rocks and gemstones. And
Oh
stuff like
yeah,
that,
my
for
daughter
sure.
loves rocks. She could collect
Oh,
rocks all day
same
long.
thing with Juniper.
I'm
Juniper was
like-
literally just laying out her rock collection earlier today.
Oh my gosh,
I
yeah.
walked in there and she's like playing with her toys, and she has like this little pad, and all of her rocks are laying out, and she's like, I'm making a pond for them. I'm just like, yeah,
Yes.
she's a really fucking cool kid. I'm very blessed with Juniper. I'm just hoping that it lasts up until her teenage years.
My one friend has 4 teenage daughters.
Fuck that.
Yeah. 4
Fuck
teenage daughters
that.
plus the wife. So yeah.
I'm ready just to get snipped. Like, fuck
Yeah.
that. One and done. And she's awesome. There's no way that's happening twice. If I have another kid,
No, it won't.
they are 100% going to be an asshole.
Oh yeah, my daughter like totally fits that stereotype. My son like fit the stereotype of boys, like a typical boy where he was hyper and like into everything and just like talking a mile a minute and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm a boy's mom. Okay, we're at the park. We're here. We're there. Okay. I got really fast at like eating food. Like I put him in the bathtub. I go in, microwave my little pizza, eat it real fast, come back, wash him up, get him out, get him ready for bed. My daughter, complete opposite. Like she can entertain herself and she's pretty calm, but she's so inquisitive. Like
Yeah.
so fucking inquisitive. Everything is a question, and I can't lie to her because I'm not trying to lie to my kids. So sometimes these questions come out of nowhere, and I'm like, what the fuck? Why? Why do you need to know this? We did a podcast recently. This is why I smoke so much pot. She's been begging to come on my podcast, and I recorded with her. Okay, first of all, it's hard to record with a kid. They are all over the place.
For sure.
So I recorded, I edited it, I had it all ready. I'm like, it's to be on the radio station, Lila. Here you go. I had it on. She could listen to it. She didn't even make it through the fucking intro song. She was like, no, Mom, I don't want to listen to this. I'm fine. Yeah.
Like, no.
I wanted
No.
to sell her right then and there. I was like, what? But, you know, you have to be nice. You have to have gentle parenting. So I was like, oh, okay, no problem.
Yeah.
It'll be there when you're ready.
Yeah, for sure. But you're just like, you little fucking
Oh,
asshole.
yeah. I was like, fuck them kids. I like went out to my space and I was like, this motherfucker just wasted. What the?
When I eventually have Juniper on the podcast, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited. But we're
Yeah.
going to do audio only for that. I'm not going to put my kid on camera.
Oh,
I'm
Lila
nervous
is
about that.
ready. She is
See, Juniper
ready.
Juniper wants her own fucking YouTube channel.
Lila too.
She makes her own little videos on her on her tablet and everything, and then I'll be scrolling through the tablet and I'll look at what she's made like when she's not around, and I'll just watch them, and then I just see her going like, "Hi guys, today I'm going to show you this. Make sure you hit the
Same.
like and subscribe." And
My
then-
daughter too, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And then like they watch the video game ones. I'm like, "Why aren't you playing this video play the game. And she's like, no, Mom, you have to watch.
When I told Juniper that my freaking YouTube video got like 1,400 views in like 2 hours, and she was like, whoa.
Yeah, she
was like, really, I can't wait for that stuff to keep growing in popularity, because when the kids start seeing it, that's when it becomes a lot more fun, you know, like, and a
my
lot
show's
more
not made
real.
for kids.
But I'm not saying it's, no, I'm not talking about seeing, I'm talking about you're seeing your success.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know,
yeah.
like I remember the first time I ever got recognized in public by a stranger, Juniper was with me.
Oh,
and it was
nice.
like the coolest fucking feeling in the world. We went out for breakfast, and this guy recognized me, and he was like, no, I've just seen you on your show before. And I'm just like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then Juniper was like, he knows you? And I was like, no, he's just seen Daddy on TV at this shop. And then she was just like, you're on TV? And I was just like, what do you think the podcast is?
Yeah, my daughter will ask me a lot about the questions, or she'll ask me about the comedy. She's like, tell me a joke that you're to tell on stage. I'm like, but my jokes aren't made for kids. She's like, tell me one anyways. And I'm like,
my first open mic, it was a joke about Juniper, was my only one that landed.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I told her, I said, hey, I joked about how kids are assholes, and everyone laughed, and she goes, I don't think that's funny. I was like, yeah, well, it affects you because you're an asshole.
Yeah.
But I still love you. Mommy loves Lila. She's like, okay, Mom. But no, she
Do you record your sets?
I have, yeah.
Nice. Do you listen back on them and just try to see, like, you know, what worked and what didn't work and stuff?
I mean, when you're involved, like, you're there. Like, I remember
How many
sets.
open mics do you go to? Do you just go to Haymaker for right now?
No, I've tried to do at least two every other week. It's really hard to, like, be consistent. As you can see, I'm fucking busy.
Yeah, for sure.
Gosh. Tomorrow I got to take my car into the shop and then go to work and then go to the open mic, because I think there's an open mic tomorrow night.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, you're also newly a single mom again, right?
Yeah.
Look at
Yeah.
that, people.
Well, I
She's
just like,
single.
I just stepped, well, it's like, it's complicated. I
No,
stepped
for
in that,
sure.
it's a complicated situation right now. But it's a weird situation that I'm in, because
We don't have to talk about it if you don't want to.
I
It's
don't
all
care.
good.
I'm transparent, so I don't care. That's the whole thing, is like, we've been very open and honest with each other. He knows that, like, what he has to work on if he wants it to, like, even think about getting back together. My whole thing is, I've been with this person for 13 years and I'm not ready to fully give up on them, but I'm not ready to keep having the same toxic cycle continue. I think he has a lot of, like, trauma that he has to work through, and a lot of, like, family stuff that he has to overcome. And so recognizing that, and it's not easy, I'll be honest, like, I have toxic traits myself.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah, so like, recognizing your own toxic traits is fucking hard. It's taxing. It can take a lot of toll on your mental health. And so I commend anyone who's working on themselves and becoming better. Everyone makes mistakes. And I feel like if you are actively trying to better yourself, then that's the only thing people can expect from you, is constantly getting better. So I'm always for people doing better. I just, for now, am focused on finding a place to live because of this rental market.
Yeah. Fuck.
Like, I think, well, we have to live together right now, because, like, apart we don't qualify for anything.
Yeah.
Because everyone wants, like, $7,500 to rent a place, and then they want, like, you to make 3 times the amount of rent, and rent is already high, and none of us are getting, like, $20 to $25 an hour unless we're busting our ass on Instacart
Or other things. Yeah.
Right. It's just, it's hard. And so, like, I told him the other day, I said, this sucks, because I feel like we're not able to have that space that we need. Like, I need you to move out and, like, actually have that space before we even think about fixing us and, like, getting back together. So he still has to move out for a month and, like, live somewhere else before we even talk about, like, resuming our marriage.
Oh, okay.
So
Sounds like
that's
a lot.
where
I'm
we're
sorry,
at.
bud.
No. I mean, we could keep getting back together, fighting and repeating the same cycles, but I think the healthiest option is to separate, work on ourselves for at least 30 days, see how it feels to be apart, see if we even want to come back together. And then and I know it's like bother me when he does move out and when he does date other people. It'll definitely like sting a little, but I also know that this is the only way to know for sure if like this marriage is worth saving. So that's where I'm at.
Damn.
So I'm looking for a studio spot. I'm looking for a spot to live, and just going forward because a lot of shit's out of my control right now. And so instead of spiraling, I'm just like moving forward.
No, for sure. And that's all you really can do. You just got to put all the good energy in the air and then keep your nose to the grindstone and just, keep on it and keep fucking, just know that, with the right kind of work and the right kind of mindset, you can really make shit happen. Because like this next couple years that this fucking country is about to experience is going to be really brutal. And it's going to be a time where, it's going to be a time where, let's be honest, the middle class is disappearing. And right now we're going to see who's going to become wealthy and who's not. And that's unfortunately where we're going. It's one of those things and I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying it's what's happening. And it's one of those things we have to fucking just keep pushing forward to make ourselves as better version even just by 1% every single day. Just 1%.
I mean, no matter what happens in your life, you have to keep moving forward because the world's that keeps spinning. And the world's that keep going. So even if you lost everything and became homeless, that shit is very debilitating. But I feel like if you just give up on life, then it's just kind of that's not the way to go.
No, for sure. And I've been super close to that recently. That's for sure. I've been really close to that recently.
Oh, yeah.
It got freaking really dark for a minute there, but that's another thing. It's getting really hot. I'm gonna probably to get some water.
I'm not used to this heat. I swear, Oregon weather, anytime it's above 70,
I'm sorry,
I feel
it's not
I'm
cooler
melting.
in here.
You're okay. I'm just I get hot when I start talking a lot too.
Same here.
That's
Let's go ahead and
me.
sign this off, dude. It was great fucking having you.
Thank you so
on.
much for
This was a
having
lot
me
of fun.
on.
Absolutely.
I can't wait to do more Vegas trips. I'm going to Vegas in October.
Nice. Let me know, and I'll freaking roll down there with you. That'd be a lot of fun. I was gonna say
that would be fun.
I was gonna say we should just road trip down there and do some networking and shit like that. That'd be a fucking blast. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas style.
Exactly.
Take some mushrooms and shit.
Oh yeah. if you want chocolate mushrooms, Wasabi has them. Hit him up on Instagram at wasabi_.
Nice, cool. And let's let people know where they can find you on Instagram.
Oh, yes. So it's just Joshin without the G with Joss, Jos. So it's pretty long, but if you type in just and then Jos, it should pop up. You'll see my face.
And I'll have the links for it in the description and everything like that.
And then it's the same on all the social medias, TikTok, Twitter. Oh, no, Twitter's Don't Step on a Duck. Because I started that because I wasn't a Twitter fan and I was like, fuck Twitter. And then Doug Benson only communicates on Twitter.
Yeah.
Or only communicated on Twitter. So I started
I want to get Doug
Twitter.
Benson on the show sometime.
I had my sister make him a voodoo donut of his face.
Nice.
One of his first shows that I went to for his live taping. Yeah, I did a donut and then he threw it in the audience and people dove for it and then it didn't even mess up the face.
Oh shit. That's awesome.
There's a picture out there of it. It was pretty great though.
That's fucking sick.
I love
Thank
him.
you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
on. I appreciate it. And thank you everybody for tuning into the Hippie Speedball Podcast. It is Joe, your host with the most, Joe, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.